Welcome to the Goal Podcast, the podcast for serious soccer players and their supporters to help further their development and navigate their way throughout their soccer career.
Welcome into a new episode of the Goal Podcast. I'm Matt Doherty, joined today by our NEPSAC experts, Matt Langone and Mike Z. Guys, how are you?
Good.
Good, Matt. Good to be here.
Doing great.
It's October 1st, so we got a lot of high school soccer to talk about, and little mid-season report, preview what's happened in September, what we can expect in October. Let's start with you guys. How's the season going so far? What's new? And talk to me about some soccer in the NEPSAC.
I'd say I will get Mike's take too, but I think the thing that jumps out in my mind to the first month of the season here is, man, I got some things wrong. I mean, there's been a lot of surprises this season. I feel like things could be more open in the NEPSAC on the boys' side this year than maybe it seemed in years past. Now I say I get things wrong. I mean, that doesn't mean teams that we thought or I thought were going to be, spectacular back in late August still won't be spectacular come November. I mean, they may find themselves and figure out their rhythm and play better soccer. But that's been, I think, actually the coolest thing is just the surprises we've seen so far, how things are playing out, even some players that maybe were under the radar to us, a month ago are shining and playing great soccer. So that's on my end. I don't know how things are on Mike's end of things.
Yeah, no, I've largely gotten everything right.
As usual.
When I was sitting in that chair a month or so ago, sorry I couldn't be with you today, guys. Scheduling just got in the way. So, no, I think I've gotten some things right, and there's things that I've gotten wrong. But look, these teams have played on the girls' side 5, 6, or 7 games. So we're approaching the midpoint, but we're certainly not there yet. So we've had some early returns, and one of the great things about our season, and I'll touch on this a little bit later, is just the head-to-head battles between so many of the top teams. Scheduling out of conference and even now starting in conference, we've seen some clashes, and the results are, interesting.
Yeah, we were saying this off the air. Like, sometimes it does take some time to gel for teams, especially, you get new faces, graduation, players graduate, some players, newcomers. Like, it does take time, but I think September does kind of start to show some cracks about, okay, who's going to be good, who's better than we expected, who's maybe a little down than we expected heading into the year. Matt L., you went to Albany. That was a big showcase in September. What were kind of your takeaways from that? And does that tournament sort of reveal some information for you about, hey, this team, maybe we didn't think was going to be a top contender, now they are? Like, what was kind of your biggest takeaway from that showcase?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the date for, on the boys prep side of things that you really circle during the season. It's usually like, September 20th, September 21st, sometime around then. So it's still early in the season. But it's like a who's who of New England boys prep soccer and beyond.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of states represented there. I think it was 12 states this year plus Canada. So it's kind of the major showcase event on the boys prep side that's in season. It gives all these, there's close to 100 college coaches there. It gives them a chance to check out some talent for these uncommitted 2026 and 2027 players. So it was a big deal, but also winning is a priority there. I mean, these teams are playing other perennial powers that they want to, kind of make a statement against and show that they're going to be, a contender come November. So that was kind of my takeaway was some of the, I mean, I said I got a lot of things wrong in the beginning, but I think I was being maybe a little too hard on myself.
Yeah,
I mean,
you guys need to relax.
Yeah. Two of my preseason top 3, 2 of them, Taft and Loomis, have been phenomenal. Both of them. Taft hasn't lost since going back to like early October of 2024. I mean, they're unbelievable again. They're looking like they have a legit chance to repeat again this year in Class A. We'll see how that plays out. Loomis has been awesome. Loomis played Woodstock Academy in Albany. And Woodstock Academy is not a NEPSAC program. That's a Prep Premier League program, meaning they play year-round. They have a different model than these NEPSAC programs. They don't really have any restraints on what their soccer team can do. They can go to club tournaments. They can go to other showcases. They can play matches against teams from, really all over the Northeast into Ohio. And Loomis lost that game 4-1, but it was a 1-1 game until about 15 minutes left in the game. And actually, Loomis led 1-0. They struck first in that game. So although it was a 4-1 loss, Loomis, I came away watching Loomis and saying, yeah, it showed me something. They're going to be, and we knew this going in, they're going to be a strong team. They were very junior heavy last year. All those kids are a year older, a year more mature. They're deep kind of all over the field. They really showed me something in that 4-1 loss. And then Milton Academy really showed me something in a 2-0 win over Berkshire. Berkshire, people remember we were really high on Berkshire. I was really high on Berkshire coming into the season. Still am. I still think they got a lot of talent. 4 Division I commits already on that team. A bunch of other D3 commits. Berkshire should be there. They've had some struggles gelling. They've lost a couple games already. They haven't really found their rhythm. But Milton was just excellent in that win. I mean, it was a 2-0 win, but it was controlling possession, weapons all over the field, tremendous pass combinations. I mean, I walked away saying, Milton, man, I mean, they were the runner-up in Class A last year. Won the thing 2 years ago. They're going to be there again at the end. And, their head coach, Chris Kane, kind of hinted at that coming in. They lost a lot. I mean, they've had the last 3 Gatorade Players of the Year from Milton Academy, and all those kids have moved on. So maybe people viewed this as, hey, does Milton take a step back? I don't think so. I think they're just as good in a lot of areas as they have been in the last few years. So they're going to be there again. Those were kind of the 2 teams. The other one, of course, I'll throw in quickly and then throw it to Mike on his side. Suffield Academy continues to play really well. The reigning Class B champs, haven't lost yet, playing awesome. Beat Hotchkiss over the weekend. Hotchkiss has been one of the surprise teams, kind of came out of nowhere, started the year 5-0, didn't allow a single goal in any of those 5 matches. So they kind of were a team we didn't see coming that has proven to be really good, will be really good in the Founders League, looks to be a playoff caliber team. Suffield handed them their first loss. So Suffield looks like another, top contender in Class B.
Yeah. All right, Mike Z, you said there's all the heavyweights have played each other. Kind of break down for us those results and what that showed you about those teams when they went head to head against each other.
Yeah. I mean, let me just a lot of the heavyweights of games remaining in October that we're going to have a keen eye on. But I thought my take coming into the season was, based on past performance, based on players back, and, coaching, stuff like that. I thought there were 6 teams across New England that before a ball was kicked, were going to be locks for the 8-team NEPSAC Class A tournament. And my feeling hasn't changed. And so that's, 3 out of the Founders League, Loomis, Chafee, Choate, Miss Porters, Buckingham, Brown, and Nichols out of the ISL, Worcester Academy, the reigning Class A champion, winning the title last year, and Phillips Andover, which is coming off a strong year last year. So those 6 teams I kind of lumped into a group. I thought they were going to make up, 3/4 of the field. Is that right? Is my math right?
Yeah.
6 out of 8?
Yep.
Oh,
you got it.
Okay, cool. And then it was just going to be a question of who else can build their resumes to find those final 2 spots. So in that sense, nothing's really changed. I feel the same way now as I felt back when we taped in August. As far as who is the team to beat among that group, we have power rankings going up later today on soccerjournal.com. And there is a new number 1 team, but you look at the head-to-head results, with some of these. You look at BB&N opening its season with a loss to Miss Porters, a 4-0 loss that probably, maybe flattered Porters a little bit, but, still was an eye-opening result. Miss Porters, I got my list right here. My memory's not great here. So, Worcester beats Miss Porters. Say it again.
Who beat who? I need a little refresher, or I need it. But my brain, hopefully I can comprehend that, because I was doing that on the public school side of like they beat them and they beat them and they beat them. Like, give me it.
It's not chronologically correct. It's just the way I took the notes down. But opening day, Miss Porters over BB&N.
Yeah.
This past weekend, Worcester Academy over Miss Porters.
Okay.
Yesterday, Choate over Worcester Academy, handing Worcester its first loss. Mm-hmm. And back a week or so, it was Loomis Chafee over Choate. So what that tells us is, the Founders League is going to be fun again. There's going to be some great teams. Right now, Loomis Chafee with maybe a little bit of the inside track, with that win, but there's still games to play. And, there's just, Class A speaking, there are those 6 teams that I think you can pencil right into the bracket right now. And then it's a question of who can join them.
Does Loomis, they still have to play Choate? That matchup's still coming?
No, Loomis beat Choate. So Loomis has to play Miss Porters, Westminster, and then you got a couple other teams that can kind of throw a wrench into the plans, like Hotchkiss and Taft out there. So, I think you win the Founders League, you're on track for a 1 or 2 seed in the NEPSAC Class A tournament. Beyond that, I'll keep talking if no one's going to cut me off.
Keep going. I'm following along really well, so I want to.
If there was one storyline that was maybe you'd consider surprising, it was BB&N opening their season with 2 losses after losing 3 games total the past 4 years. Granted, those first 2 games against Miss Porter's, a Class A finalist last year, and Dexter Southfield, the reigning Class B champion, taken in that through that lens, maybe not terribly surprising. And then BB&N comes back the following week, goes to Worcester Academy and plays them to a 2-2 tie. So that just shows that, they may have 2 losses on their ledger, and that's unique, but this is a team that'll play with anyone. And, when November comes around, they'll be part of the conversation.
Yeah. And you think those games, the tough games at the beginning of the year, also help you in a way, right? You learn, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what you need to do to play with the best teams. And sometimes you see that where an early season result against a good team helps the team as they move forward. We see that a lot, especially in high school sports. Matt, is there any results that, like, if you had to pick a September result that stuck with you the most, a win, a loss, like what comes to mind?
I would actually say as a whole, what Belmont Hill has done in the Independent School League, unbeaten, another team that we we knew they were going to be pretty good. Actually, truth be told, when I was putting together the preseason top 10 rankings, Belmont Hill was on my radar a bit, probably just kind of on the just outside, maybe that 11, 12, 13 spot. They had a great season last year in the ISL, but didn't make the Class A tourney. But all they've done this year is go 5-0 or 6-0-1 overall. And it's just the way they're playing. Their back four has been excellent. They're a team, I think, that I need to see what they do when they play a Milton Academy or a Nobles, because I want to see what it looks like against one of those kind of perennial power ISL teams to see kind of the legit factor of what the ceiling can be. But by all accounts and conversations I've had, it's a really good squad and kind of a surprise. They climbed pretty high in our latest top 10. I mean, we have them at number 6 after not being in at all. So they've shown well. Their forward, Jack Bartlett, is a really good goal scorer. He's been a big time producer. So they have that kind of go-to goal scorer to go with a really steady back four and a good goalkeeper in Harry Lavoie. So I think that's a team I'm keeping an eye on, because I wouldn't say there's one specific result, because you know how soccer can be. I mean, you can have a loss and you can really outplay a team and lose the match 1-0. So I try not to get too caught up in the one loss, but maybe the bigger picture. And right now, I think Belmont Hill is the team that's really impressing me. And the other one I mentioned a little earlier was Hotchkiss. Just what they've done. Taft has kind of had the stronghold in the Founders League in recent years. Choate's been really good and still is really good. But Hotchkiss is looking like a team that can compete. Avon Old Farm's another one I should mention that's playing well too. So like Mike said on the girls' side, the Founders is really deep every year. There's usually like four to five really strong teams on the boys' side as well. Taft appears to maybe be the class of the league again this year, but Hotchkiss I'm watching closely, because if you go 5 matches and don't allow a goal, that's impressive.
What is Hotchkiss, Class A or B?
They're Class A. They're Class A. So Class A is going to be super interesting, because, a team like Worcester Academy, who's been, won the whole thing a few years back and has been a perennially exceptional program, they're taking a step back this year. They're really struggling. They have a losing record right now. In fact, I'm not sure. I'd have to check my notes right now to see if they've won yet. But as of last week, they hadn't won a game. I'll have to check their notes right now, my notes on that. But Worcester seems to be struggling. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. So it's an uphill battle. So you take a team like Worcester Academy, theoretically, out of the equation, typically a top 4 seed in Class A, that now becomes an open spot. Northfield Mount Herman's playing well right now. They've kind of had some up and downs. I expect them to probably be in that Class A field again. Of course. But it's another perennial power, but it's more open. I think there's going to be a couple spots up for grabs. I think we could see 2 to 3 teams in the Class A tournament this year that weren't in the field last year.
And we were saying this, it's already October 1st. So like we got a couple weeks left and then the postseason begins. It's kind of crazy how fast the fall season, flies by. Mike, when we're looking into October, like set the table for me for the next month. Like, what are you looking at the most? What's kind of the most intriguing storylines for the next few weeks before the tournament begins?
Yeah, I mean, I have some notes down here, and one thing that's kind of stood out to me over this first month that I want to keep an eye on going forward are some of the smaller and maybe under the radar teams in the ISL off to terrific starts, and could be building for something, for something special down the road. You look at a team like St. George's is off to a 5-1 start, and two results that catch my eye are wins over Nobles and Governors, two teams that they did not beat last year. They've got a nice core, nice junior core. You got players like Kennedy Needham and Jane Coogan, who committed to Stonehill recently. Caden Taji is a freshman who's leading the league in scoring, 11 goals. So that's definitely a player to watch. That's one team. Brooks is another team. 3-0-3 out of the gate. Maybe don't have that, that great signature power win, but certainly a really good start. A couple, good attacking options on that side. Lawrence is 4-1 after finishing joint bottom of the ISL last season. So that's certainly an encouraging start. That's a program that's done some damage in the past. And then you have, a team like Milton Academy. Milton's a Class A team. They were the last team to get into the Class A tournament last year. They're off to a 3-1-2 start. They've got some talent, especially on the defensive end. Charlotte Banbury in goal. She's going to Brown. So I think they're well positioned. So I think that's one of the things I'm really curious about as we move into October, is to see how some of these smaller ISL teams do when they go up, the BB&Ns or the Nobles and the Thayers, and see if they can, win enough games to put themselves in position and maybe even challenge, take an outside shot at the league title.
So the ISL is pretty loaded based on what you just said, because
it's deep.
You mentioned those teams, right? And then you didn't then you at the end are like, and then we have BB&N, Dexter, and those teams. So there's a lot of contenders in that league, is what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I mean, Dexter's an independent, but all those other teams for sure. And it just seems like it has a feel like it might be a little deeper than in years past, and there might be a little intrigue a little later into October instead of BB&N, kind of running away and proving it's the best team by far.
Yeah.
Matt, real quick housekeeping. I just want to give Worcester Academy their credit. Worcester Academy did get a win, so they're 1-5 right now. Still, not what we expected from Worcester Academy, but like I said, they've been dealing with some injuries.
Did they have like 10 college players last year?
Yeah, they were. They've been a powerhouse. So I'm not saying it goes in cycles, obviously, as we all know. So you get a group of talent that comes through the program together in his freshman, and then you get them for 4 years. So maybe it's just one of those just down years for Worcester, which is rare for them. It's just it's a rare thing to see at Worcester Academy.
Yeah. So for both of you, before we wrap up, kind of some players who have stood out. I'm curious, like, who have been the top players in the NEPSAC, and focus on Class A and B, but some names who have jumped out, whether that's scoring a ton of goals or being a playmaker in the midfield, maybe a defender or goalie who stood out, like talking to coaches and seeing the results, like who's jumped out the page in September.
One guy that's definitely jumped out after watching him play in Albany too is Milton Academy forward Charlie Pons. Has just been a great goal scorer, really big time producer for Milton, has kind of filled that role up top for them as a go-to scorer. He's been a guy that I think has got to be getting some college attention right now. I mean, just especially based on how he played against Berkshire and Albany when there are a lot of eyes on him. I thought he was exceptional in that game. Avon Old Farms has a striker named Derek Yaboa, who's 6'4" striker. I mean, tremendous target on, balls in the air and just a force in the box. He's a kid we've been hearing a lot about for the last couple of years, actually. Avon head coach Carl Stensland's been high on him for a few years, really been talking him up, and having seen him play, he's a special talent.
What year is he?
He's a 2026, so he's another kid. I would think. Uncommitted as of now, and 6'4" striker out of the Founders League has got to be attracting some attention. Another one is the Loomis Chafee goalkeeper Anthony Marziliano, another name that we've kind of been following for a couple of years. Just a really athletic, smart goalkeeper, big leg. I mean, sends booming kicks down the field, can really ignite a counterattack, and just smart positioning. Just knows how to play the position really well. He's a kid I think that's been really impressive. Those are kind of the uncommitted kids. I mean, the committed, there's plenty of tremendous committed players who are continuing to excel. Jamie Vega Espinoza, I think, you must have seen him.
He's on Stars.
Tremendous player for
He's a younger kid.
He's a 2026, right? Yeah. BB&N kid.
Yeah. He's a good player.
Just tremendous. I was impressed with him, just how he kind of patrols the midfield and controls possession. He was a really impressive player that I saw in Albany too. It's just, as usual, it's like an embarrassment of riches for talent in the region. I mean, everybody's got, high level players. You would think the commitments will roll in as the season progresses for a lot of these 2026 guys, because there's a lot of talent out there.
Mike Z, on the girls' side, who stood out to you?
Yeah, just following what Matt said, and again, we can single out players because we see who scores the goals or who's the rocket at center back. But such a team sport. You need all 11, rowing the same way to produce this team success. I was very impressed with the a trio from Phillips Andover at the start of the season, and that hasn't changed. I think Wiley Rusian, a North Carolina commit, one of the top strikers in the region, absolutely deadly. Heck of a player. And then they've got a player, Keegan Murphy, in the back, who really impresses me, the chances I've had to watch. And Ashley Dimnako in the midfield. She's a sophomore. So, that trio was kind of on my radar, and I've enjoyed what I've seen from them. Addie Kayla from BB&N, everybody knows about her. She's going to Boston College next year. She's got 7 or 8 goals to this point. She's kind of carried that offense, and waiting to see what develops around her. And look at a team like Miss Porter's and a center back, Bella Selena. She's been in the lineup for a while. She was a key part of that team last year that advanced to the Class A final. That team graduated half its starters from that team, and I think we maybe underranked them a little bit in the preseason. But Selena, she's a rock on that defense. They are not giving up goals. They've shown that they can play with, just about anybody. So just off the top of my head, those are some players early on who've impressed me.
Real quick too, Matt, not to interrupt, but I would, the disclaimer I love to always say, and I would advise any readers to go to soccerjournal.com, because like when we do these things, we single some players out.
Yeah, I'm just curious, anyone that comes to mind right at the top.
Inevitably there's a coach or a parent out there that's like, what about this guy? How do you know? And we get it. There's a ton of great players, and we if you go to soccerjournal.com, we constantly have watch lists. We constantly have standouts from games. We constantly, like Albany, we I had standouts from every position from Albany, uncommitted standouts. We're trying to highlight as many of these players as possible. So I feel like we do have to kind of say that, because inevitably the complaints roll in that we forgot somebody, and we know we forgot somebody.
Yeah, and obviously to just jump in, I mean, soccer is such a unique sport that the best player on the field,
may
not have a check mark on the score sheet.
Exactly, and also, like, if you're there watching a game, I mean, they're the standouts of, like in Albany, those were the standouts of that weekend. Now that doesn't mean another kid on the team is maybe the best player 9 out of 10 games, but in that game we saw, that kid was the best player.
Yeah, and obviously, like, I covered the girls' club, so like for Mike Z, it's like he could name about 50 players who are probably dominating in NEPSAC right now, because there's a ton of talent in that space, and No, we know that.
Yeah, we know that, but that's everybody else. That's the key. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But some there's always new players who emerge, and people who sometimes do stand out above the rest. And we talk to coaches, and they're like, yeah, keep an eye on this kid. And this player is playing really well. And sometimes you get that feedback from other coaches too, like this player on this team is doing really well. So I was just curious what you guys were finding. It's always good. It helps me too in the club world to know these names, and
there's so much overlap.
The club season. So awesome, guys. Well, you're doing a great job with the content all season long, the power rankings, the standouts, all that, and appreciate you guys coming on and sharing your knowledge to us and the listeners. So thanks again, and buckle up. We got 1 month before the playoffs, so a lot's going to change and a lot's going to happen. So thank you guys for coming on. Yeah, we're going to get to extra time. Don't worry. I just wanted to thank my NEPSAC experts.
Right here, Doherty.
And now David Yaz is going to give us some extra time before we wrap up.
It's the end of regulation, so let's move to extra time.
No respect. I tell you,
I was getting to it.
I know. I have confidence in you, Doherty. Believe it or not. I don't know why.
I know.
Well,
I'm a new host.
Welcome back.
Matt host.
Welcome back to Extra Time, where I will send 3 questions the way of all 3 of our panelists here. They are unprepared for these questions, and they are sweating in their cleats. The edition of extra time that we have today is overrated or underrated.
Oh,
I'm just going to give you, I think we've done this before, but 3 topics, overrated or underrated. Mike Z, since you're joining us from parts unknown, you will go first. First one is calling soccer the beautiful game. Calling soccer the beautiful game. Is that, Mike Z, overrated or underrated, and why?
10 years ago, I would have said overrated, 100%. And now my take is underrated. Just the more I've gotten to know about the sport, just through watching my boys play, getting turned on to the fact that, I can watch just about any game now, anytime, whether it's, Premier League, Champions League, Mexican 4th Division. It's something it's really grown on me, I guess is what I'd say. And so, yes, I would say underrated, beautiful game.
All right. Matt Langone, overrated or underrated? The beautiful game.
I'm torn because the phrase has oftentimes made my skin crawl, as like a lot of, I've always said I love soccer, but sometimes I feel like soccer people get in the way of letting other people love. So like, I feel like sometimes we're a little too pretentious with the thing. I'll compare it to this. I used to actually hate when people would call the ref sir in soccer. I don't know why, but now I actually love it. I love that's become a soccer thing. So I've grasped on to some of these cheesy phrases, and I agree with Mike. Like, soccer is a beautiful game, and it takes 11 parts, 11 players to keep the thing moving, and it's really like no other sport, where everyone kind of has a role, and like we just said, it's so hard to sometimes single out an individual player because the unit is so reliant on everybody. So it is a beautiful game. Sometimes that phrase does make my skin crawl, so I would probably lean towards overrated, just because I feel like we need to welcome more people into the soccer bubble sometimes than to have the pretentiousness.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how I feel, but I don't mind. Descriptively, it is a beautiful game.
That's the correct answer.
You're straddling the line, but
I am.
Matt
Overrated.
Overrated.
So today's actually my year anniversary at the Soccer Journal. If you want to hit that cheer button,
we got some cake. We need some cake.
And I know, right? But the sport has really grown on me over the last year. I was in multiple sports before, now soccer full time. So the sport's really grown on me. But that phrase is still, I just don't like the phrase. Like, I don't really think that encapsulates it well. And also, like, I think other sports are also beautiful too. So it's like, why soccer gets that distinction? Like, I think we just need to come up with a better phrase to describe the game. So I'm going to say overrated.
All right. Well, let's go to the judges, and the judges say Mike C is correct. It is, in fact, overrated. No, wait, underrated. Here we go.
Underrated.
All right, I pushed the wrong button.
Good save.
All right, question number 2, topic number 2. We'll go around the bend the other way. So, Maddie D, you are first. Flopping as a crisis. Flopping as a crisis. We have to sort of tweak this a little bit. So, is flopping as a crisis overblown or not overblown? Matt D, you're
okay.
right.
So what would overblown mean? If I said
Overblown means
it is a crisis or it isn't a crisis?
it isn't, right? The crisis,
Like, we're not emphasizing how much of a
right?
crisis
The
this is.
so-called crisis. If the so-called crisis is overblown, then
okay.
it's not really a crisis, right? Yeah.
Overblown.
Overblown. Okay.
You know,
Tell us why.
I used to be really anti-flopping, but I've kind of come around to it a little. I think it amuses me, and I think it kind of gets the juices flowing in a match where, like, say it's a tie game in the 60th minute and you get a little flopping, and then the other team starts to complain. I think it raises some stakes. So while I still want to ban flopping, I think it's coming around to me, and I think we should see a flop a game.
Okay. Your thoughts, Matt Langone.
I couldn't disagree with Doherty more. I hate it. I hate it. It's infiltrated the game at all levels. It's starting at like U10 now. Kids acting like they're shot on the field,
that is ridiculous.
I mean, like, rolling around, screaming in agony when, like, and then they're up. Oh, hey, they're on a fast break. Like, I can't deal with it. I saw so much of it in Albany. I wanted to throw up. Yeah, I wanted to throw up every time I see it. It's like the scream, the fall, the rolling on the ground,
the leg,
the clutching the ankle when no one was near your ankle. Like, and again, I think it's like, as I love soccer, I played it my whole life. it gives us that stuff gives it a bad name. Like, stop it. Stop. I say it in basketball. I love basketball. Play that, like, get the flopping out of both sports. Like, it's awful. And at least in the NBA, in basketball, they're starting to like fine you for, they're starting to like get on you a little bit for flopping now. I'd love to see soccer do the same thing where they're going to fine you for, like, they're going to take measurements to get rid of flopping.
Langone on fire today. I love it.
I hate flopping.
We got him red in the face. Mike Z, your thoughts?
Yeah, not a crisis.
Not a crisis.
There we go, Mike.
No.
There we go.
So, I mean, you look at it, there's so many different levels. And hearing Matt Langone talk about it, yeah, I see that. I see that from my son. You know, I joke that his school picture should be, you know, sitting on the ground. Like, why? How can you not call that? I see it. I don't see it a ton at the games that I play, that I cover at that level. And then when you get to the higher levels of the game, there are so many angles of replays now and VARs that, you know, if you flop, you're going to get caught. You know, there's just no way around the technology now at these higher levels of soccer. So, you know, to sum up, not a crisis, not to the point where it's got me thinking that, you know, something drastic needs to be done.
Okay. The verdict is it's a draw. I know how you soccer fans love ties. So that's we're going to call it.
In hindsight, maybe I was a little too angry.
No,
because I would be like that sometimes, but I feel like I've come around to it and you just have to let it happen and find the amusement in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Find the beauty.
No,
Beauty in it, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Final topic for extra time. Is it called a Tifo? Tifo, a huge banner display of a choreographed flag that you see in a lot of soccer matches. Am I pronouncing that right, guys? You've never heard of this?
No.
I know what you're
Huge-
talking about. I know it was called. Yeah, I didn't know it was called.
It's comes from the Italian tifosi. It's a visual display of any choreographed flag, sign, or banner in the stands of a stadium, mostly as part of a soccer match. Okay. So you've seen these things. They can come in a lot of different forms. Sometimes they actually cover like entire sections of a stadium, which I can't figure out how the people can still watch the game when that banner is on top of their head. I don't know. Maybe they're see-through. Mike Z, we'll let you start the huge banners of soccer, overrated or underrated.
I got to generate some outrage one way or the other here.
Generate some outrage.
He does.
Hold on. So, yeah. No, I love them. They're great. I mean, the one that sticks in my mind is, you know, I mean, you see the Arsenal jerseys behind me, you know, Champions League last year going to Real Madrid, you know, and you know, massive, intimidating Tifo, what it's called behind it. But no, I think it's just part of the pageantry and, you know, part of the game, you know, gets fans together. No problem.
Okay.
So
underrated.
Yeah, I would say underrated too. I mean, that's what makes soccer awesome. The pageantry and just the fan experience and the arena, the stadium experience. That's the best. That's the thing. One of the things I love most is like the chanting, the banners, like, you know, it's awesome. I would say totally underrated.
All right.
Underrated. They're dope. They're awesome. They make
cool.
the atmosphere awesome. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were going to play spoiler.
No, not
You
this
can't
time.
on that one.
I think they're awesome. Yeah.
No, I think other than, I guess you could argue college football. I mean, they don't quite have those style banners necessarily. And college football fans will try all kinds of weird stuff. And like what school does the whiteout? I don't know.
Penn State did it. It was awesome. I was watching
That's
that game.
pretty cool. That's
And
pretty
they
cool.
lost.
And then
They did.
yeah, but other than that, those banners I think are pretty unique to soccer. And so you guys are all correct. It is underrated. Well, you all have done a very good job on extra time today, and I'm going to send you each a huge banner with my face on it. Good luck. All right, back to you guys to wrap things up.
Thank you guys for coming on today. I just lost the outro.
Just speak from your heart, Doherty. You can do it.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
it.
thank you. Honestly, this was great. We're going to do one probably before the postseason too. And the months, I don't know, everything changes month to month.
It does.
Well, what we talked about in September is different than what we talked about heading into October. But check out soccerjournal.com for all the latest content on what's going on in the NEPSAC season. And thank you, Mike Z, for joining us. That'll do it for this edition of the Goal Podcast. The Goal Podcast is produced by David Yaz and is a Siemens Media production.
You've been listening to New England Soccer Journal's The Goal Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to our podcast. Or visit anysoccerjournal.com/podcast. Siemens Media. Inspiring, informative, insightful.